Mr. President, I call up my amendment number 1034. I ask that it be reported by number, and I ask consent that Senator Menendez and I each have 3 minutes to discuss this amendment.
Is there an objection? Without objection, the clerk will report.
Senator from Louisiana, Mr. Kennedy proposes amendment number 1034 to amendment number 935.
Mr. President, as we all know, the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF as we call it, it's an international bank. Most countries belong to it, 190 in fact, and every country...
Would the senator yield?
Certainly.
Order. Please order. Senators, take your conversations out of the Senate chamber. The senator may proceed.
Thank you. Virtually every country in the world is a member of the IMF. There are 190 countries. And everybody puts up money, and when another country gets in trouble, the IMF helps bail them out. Now, not every country in the IMF is equal in voting rights. The countries that put up the most money get most of the voting rights and have most of the control. And you'll not be surprised, Mr. President, to learn that the United States of America puts up over $100 billion, and we have the largest share of voting rights. Now, periodically, the IMF issues what's called special drawing rights. The technical definition of a special drawing right is an international reserve asset created by and issued by the IMF. But forget that. Let me tell you what a special drawing right is. A special drawing right is like a dividend. Think of it as a poker chip. So the IMF says we're going to give dividends or poker chips to every member of the IMF. Well, what can you do with this poker chip? Well, if you're Iran, for example, you can take this poker chip and go to the IMF and say, here's my poker chip, and I want $1.42, that's the exchange rate, of U.S. dollars, whether Iran needs it or not. Pretty sweet deal. Now, Iran would never have to pay back that money. The IMF does charge Iran interest on those U.S. dollars.
Would the senator yield? Once again, please, order on the floor. The senator may proceed.
I think you might have to put some of them in jail, Mr. President. But anyway, Iran wouldn't have to pay it back, but they have to pay an interest. But let me guess what the interest rate is. 0.05%, not 5%, 0.05%. Sweet deal for Iran, especially when they don't need the money. My amendment would simply say that the United States cannot, Secretary of Treasury, cannot vote to approve special drawing rights, or these poker chips, for any country that according to the State Department sponsors genocide or state-backed terrorism. Genocide or state-backed terrorism unless Congress approves. And I will reserve my time but yield to Senator Menendez, my good friend from New Jersey. This bill will not take poker chips, and that's what they are, away from any country unless they're engaging in genocide or state-sponsored terrorism. That's it. The world will not spin off its axis. If you think a country that commits genocide or state-sponsored terrorism should get poker chips, vote against this bill.